The topic of the day is what makes us special. What makes cooperatives the best business model on earth. And I firmly believe that it is. These guidelines, these beliefs that we have, that we hold dear to the way we do business. In an investor-owned utility, the way that model operates is that they have to serve those outside investors. So you might live in any of the communities that each of you are from, but the owners of those utilities could live anywhere. They could live in New York, Chicago, LA. So their concern for the types of services that are provided are not really going to be as great as they are when you are locally owned and operating in the community as every electric co-op does. And I think that makes a very, very key structural difference. There are 29,284 cooperatives in the United States. There's roughly, what, 950 electric co-ops? So that means that there's 28,000 co-ops that are not electric cooperatives. There are 8,000 credit unions. Growing up in Brooklyn, where I did, if you said the word co-op, you meant housing, because housing co-ops in New York City are what we do. That's the way most people live. And people tend to have sort of this frozen image in their mind of what a co-op is, depending on what their first experience might be with that co-op. So that is one of our challenges, is communicating, and that's where your role is so crucial. You know, they say in real estate, the 3 things to know about real estate: location, location, location. And the 3 things to get to understanding are communication, communication, communication. You are the lifeblood of your organizations. You are the veins and the arteries that take the message out to people. And you know you have to constantly do it. We talked about, Mike was talking about Twitter and Facebook, and NCBA recently went on that. I would hope that you're embracing that kind of technology as well. Because that's real important. You know, we have to find the next generation of leaders. It's proud to have a board member who's been on the board for 50 years, but is that going to take you to the next step? How many of you have retirement clubs, or a way for retirees of your cooperative to get together? Anybody? Retirees, great group, right? They have the #1 resource, time. Okay, all right. They have the time to dedicate. If you're working on a legislative issue, cap and trade, which I know is obviously of great importance. So, embracing the principles and making them our living values is one of our great strategic advantages. But we need to very much live it. Now, these are principles. They have to be put into place. It's human beings that have to act on those principles. So if you have a credit union that has a culture where they're not ascribing to this, or an electric co-op that's not, or a telephone co-op, or a housing co-op, then they just become words on paper, and they're not the culture of the organization. I don't know that in my lifetime that we're ever going to get to a unified cooperative brand, where all of the different co-ops, all of the different sectors are able to come together. I lived through the touchstone energy creation, and I think that's great, and I hope everyone is using it. I see that logo right there, and I think that's wonderful, because it does tie the electric co-op network together from all over the country. I don't know that we're going to be able to do that for all credit unions and electric co-ops and housing co-ops and food co-ops, but we can use that .coop name, and it is only available to cooperatively owned businesses and to their support organizations. And we're very grateful that NRECA, CFC, NRTC, all groups that I've been visiting with, all chose to use that .coop early on, because it clearly identifies that your business is different. Is it going to be a little bit of a pain if you're not using it? People are going to say, coop, what is that? Is it .coop, .com? That is a teachable moment. You can now explain to them again what a co-op is and why you're different. If any of you are rebranding your websites or doing some reskins, it's a good time to promote that.